Hi, I'm Tim. This is the seventh and final lesson in the series on playing blues guitar. In this lesson, you'll learn a slightly modified variation of the minor pentatonic scale called the blues scale, along with ways to play the minor pentatonic and blues scales using different patterns up and down the guitar neck. After that, you'll learn about quarter step bends and how you can use them to create your own authentic sounding blues licks and riffs. Finally, you'll learn a few new licks and a complete 12-bar melody that has some fun and challenging techniques. Before you start learning about the blues scale and quarter step bends, let's talk about how musicians describe the notes of scales. In Lesson 1, we learned how numbers can be used to name the notes of a scale. For example, in the major scale, which has 7 notes, each note has a number. The root is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the octave is 1 again. The numbers are called scale degrees, and they stay the same regardless of which key the scale is in. The minor pentatonic scale has some notes in common with the major scale, but it lowers some notes by a half step and skips some others completely. Both scales have the same 1, or root. The pentatonic skips the 2. The 3 of the major scale is here, while the 3 of the minor pentatonic is 1 fret lower, here. So it has a flat 3. They both have the same 4 and 5. The pentatonic skips the 6. The 7 of the major scale is here, while the 7 of the minor pentatonic scale is 1 fret lower, here, so it has a flat 7. Using numbers to describe the notes in the minor pentatonic scale, you have 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, and 1 again. Keeping the numbers in mind makes it easier to play the scales in different ways, and gives you more options for your solos and riffs. The blues scale adds one note to the minor pentatonic scale that gives it an even bluesier sound. This is what it sounds like in the key of A. Musicians usually call the added note a blue note. Using the numbers we just learned, the blue note is also called a flat 5. The new note is 1 fret below the 5th of the scale. For example, in the A minor pentatonic scale, there are scale degrees 1, flat 3, 4, and 5. The flat 5, or blue note, is 1 fret below the 5. Let's play the blues scale in A, starting at the 5th fret of the 6th string. The same as for the A minor pentatonic. I'll call out the finger numbers and the scale degrees as we go. First finger on the 1, 4th finger on the flat 3, first finger on the 4, second finger on the flat 5 or blue note, third finger on the 5, first finger on the flat 7, and third finger on the 1. Going up from there, we have the first finger on the flat 3, third finger on the 4, fourth finger on the flat 5, first finger on the 5, fourth finger on the flat 7, first finger on the 1, and finish with the fourth finger on the flat 3. Now let's play the A blues scale a little faster, up and down. I'll call out the finger numbers. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. And back down. 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 1. When you use the blue note in your solos and licks, it usually works best as what musicians call a passing tone or a leading tone, which means that it points or leads to another note next to it, either up to the fifth or down to the fourth. Let's play this simple lick to get the idea of a leading tone. Play the flat 5 blue note with your second finger on the 5th string. Hammer onto the 5th with your 3rd finger. Then play the root on the 4th string with your 3rd finger. Next, play the flat 5 with your 2nd finger again. But this time pull off to your 1st finger at the 4th. And finish on the root with your 1st finger at the 6th string. Play that with me a few times. 3, 4. When playing the blues, it's very common to use a half-step bend on the blue note to lead up to the 5th. You can also play a half-step prebend from the 4th degree up to the blue note and let it fall back to the 4th. Let's play this riff to try some bends on the blue note. Play the flat 5 blue note with your 4th finger on the 3rd string and bend it up a half step to the 5th. Then play the root with your 1st finger on the 1st string. Next, prebend up to the blue note with your 3rd finger on the 3rd string. Let it fall back down to the 4th. And then play the root on the 4th string with your 2nd finger. Play that with me a few times. 3, 4. The flat 5 blue note is a powerful element in blues and rock music. When you're listening to guitar solos and riffs that you like, try to pick out when the guitarist is playing blue notes and how they're using them to add motion and drama to their playing. In Lesson 5, you learned about whole step and half step bends. Now let's learn about another kind of bend that's common to blues music, called a quarter step bend. They can add a bluesy sound to your solos and riffs. A quarter step bend sounds like this. The goal of a quarter step bend is to bend the note up halfway between the pitch of the original note and the note 1 fret higher. Quarter step bends work best on the flat 3rd and flat 7th degrees of the minor pentatonic or blues scale. One of the distinguishing sounds of the blues is the clash between the major 3rd and a flat 3rd. All of the 12-bar blues progressions we've played have been based around chords with a major 3rd, like A7. Here's the major 3rd of the chord, on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. But the scales we've used to play licks and solos over the 12-bar blues progression use a flat 3rd, like the one here on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. So every time you play a flat 3rd over a chord with a major 3rd, there's a clash or tension between the notes. Musicians call this dissonance, and it's a characteristic sound of the blues. Using quarter step bends on the flat 3rd of the scale is a technique that blues musicians use to exploit the clash between the flat 3rd and the major 3rd. You can get a similar effect using a quarter step bend on the flat 7 of the scale, bending the note up between the flat 7 and the major 7 1 fret higher. When you're playing blues riffs or solos, try using some quarter step bends on the flat 3rd and flat 7th scale degrees. you'll hear how it makes your playing sound bluesier. The licks in the next sections of this lesson use a lot of quarter-step bends on the 3rd and 7th to help you get used to the sound and technique. This series of lead licks is in the key of E and uses quarter-step bends on the flat 3rd and flat 7th degree of the scale. To play the first part, start with your hand in place for the open E minor pentatonic scale. Play an open first string E, up to 2 Gs at the 3rd fret, then back to an open E, an open string B, a D at the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, back to an open E. Then this repeats. Play that much with me. 2, 3, 4. G is the flat 3rd degree, and D is the flat 7 of the E scale. Listen to the different sound of the lick if I give both of those notes a quarter-step bend. Play it with me a few times using the quarter-step bends. 2, 3, 4. Again. One more time. The second part of the lick goes like this. Start with the G on the 3rd fret of the 1st string with a quarter-step bend to an open E, a D at the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then slide up from there to the E at the 5th fret and add some vibrato. Play that with me a couple times. 2, 3, 4. Again. Now put both of those parts together. 2, 3, 4. This series of licks will work well over the first 8 bars of the 12-bar blues in E. For the 11th and 12th bars, you can play the first lick and then finish like this, with your 3rd finger on the D to 2 open Bs on the 2nd string. Play that with me 2 times. 2, 3, 4. Again. 3, 4. You can use these licks as part of your solo in the play chapter of this lesson. This lick uses a flat 5 bend as a leading tone to the 5th degree of the scale. Start with your first finger on the A at the 5th fret of the 1st string, to a B flat with your 2nd finger 1 fret up, which is the flat 5, and bend that up a half step to the B natural and add some vibrato. Play that much with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. For the next part, play a G with your first finger at the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Play it again and quickly hammer on up to the A at the 5th fret with your 3rd finger. And then come back down to the G. Play it with me a few times. 2, 3, 4. Now put both of those parts together. 2, 3, 4. This lick works well over the 5 and 4 chords on the 9th and 10th measures of the 12-bar blues in E. So far, we've played the minor pentatonic scale and the blues scale using the fingering pattern that starts with the root on the 6th string. There are 4 more fingering patterns that you can use for playing these scales. They'll give you more options for playing solos and riffs on different parts of the guitar neck. It may be a lot for you to remember all these patterns right away, but give them a try now, and you can come back later to refresh your memory so you can use them to create your own licks and riffs. First, let's review the fingering pattern you've used in most of these lessons. You can move this pattern up and down the neck to play it in different keys, starting on the root. We'll call this pattern 1. Let's review the E minor pentatonic scale, starting at the open position with the root E on the open 6th string using pattern 1. Open, 3rd, open, 2nd, open, 2nd, open, 2nd, open, 3rd, open, 3rd. The roots are the open 6th string, under your 2nd finger on the 4th string, and the open 1st string. Now let's play the pattern 1 blues scale in E, starting on the open 6th string. Open, 3rd, open, 1st, 2nd, open, 2nd, open, 2nd, 3rd, open, 3rd, and open, 3rd. Again, the roots are the open 6th string, under your 2nd finger on the 4th string, and the open 1st string. And the blue note is under your 1st finger on the 5th string, and under your 3rd finger on the 3rd string. You can also play both the E minor pentatonic and E blues scales using pattern 1 at the 12th fret, starting on the 6th string. Here's the minor pentatonic. 1st, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 4th, 1st, 4th. Now the roots are under your 1st finger on the 6th string, under your 3rd finger on the 4th string, and under your 1st finger on the 1st string. The E blues scale using pattern 1 at the 12th fret is 1st, 4th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 4th, 1st, 4th. The roots are in the same places, and the blue notes are under your 2nd finger on the 5th string and under your 4th finger on the 3rd string. Now you can move on to the 4 new fingering patterns for the minor pentatonic and blues scales. The 2nd scale pattern starts with your 2nd finger on the 3rd degree of the scale. The fingering pattern for the minor pentatonic is 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4. The roots are under your 1st finger on the 4th string and under your 4th finger on the 2nd string. The E blues scale using pattern 2 is 2, 4, then move your 1st finger down to the 1st fret of the 5th string for the blue note, then back up to the 2nd fret, then 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, then slide your hand up so your 1st finger is on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then 3rd finger, up to the 1st string, 1, 3, 4. The roots are under your first finger on the fourth string, and now under your third finger on the second string. The blue notes are under your first finger at the first fret of the fifth string, your second finger at the third fret of the third string, and your fourth finger at the sixth fret of the first string. The third scale pattern starts with your first finger on the fourth degree of the scale. The E minor pentatonic scale using pattern 3 is 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Then move your first finger down to the fourth fret on the third string. Then your third finger at the seventh fret of the third string. 1, 4, 1, 3. The roots are under your third finger on the fifth string and your first finger on the second string. The blues scale in E using pattern 3 goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. Then move your first finger down to the fourth fret on the third string. Then your third finger at the seventh fret of the third string. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3. The roots are in the same places, and the blue notes are under your second finger on the sixth string, your fourth finger on the fourth string, and under your second finger on the first string. The fourth scale pattern starts with your first finger on the fifth degree of the scale. The E minor pentatonic scale using pattern 4 is 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4. In this pattern, the roots are under your first finger on the fifth string and under your third finger on the third string. The blues scale in E using pattern 3 goes 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4. Then move your fourth finger up one more fret to get the blue note on the 11th fret. Then back down to the 7th fret with your first finger, then your fourth finger. The roots are in the same place, and the blue notes are under your second finger on the fourth string, and under your fourth finger on the second string up on the 11th fret. The last scale pattern starts with your second finger on the 7th degree of the scale. The E minor pentatonic scale using pattern 5 is 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. The roots are under your fourth finger on the sixth string, under your first finger on the third string, and under your fourth finger on the first string. The blues scale in E using pattern 5 starts with your first finger instead of your second on the 10th fret. It goes 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. Then move your first finger down to the 9th fret of the fourth string. Then your fourth finger at the 12th fret. Do the same thing on the third string. 1, 4. Then shift your fingers back up so your first finger is at the 10th fret of the second string. Then your second finger, then your third, and finish with 1 and 3 on the first string. The roots are under your third finger on the sixth string, under your first finger on the third string, and under your third finger on the first string. The blue notes are under your fourth finger on the fifth string, and under your second finger on the second string. In this section, I'll show you a set of challenging licks that you can play as the head melody in the play chapter of this lesson. The melody is in a style reminiscent of the famous blues guitarist and singer John Lee Hooker. He had a unique sound with many similarities to Mississippi Delta blues, and he was one of the first blues guitar players to popularize the use of electric guitar with that blues style. When you play this melody at full tempo, the notes go by very quickly. First, I'll play the complete 12-bar line for you at tempo. Then we'll slow it down and look at each lick. Let's take a look at the first part. I'll play it slowly, and you can use the tab shown below the video window to help you figure out which notes to play. This riff starts with a slide up to the 4th fret with your 2nd finger, then back down to the 2nd fret, then a series of open string and 2nd fret notes. Putting it together sounds like this. The second time through the lick, you skip the first slide up, but everything else is similar. The third lick is similar to the first, but suggests the 4 chord a little bit more. It goes like this. Start with the slide up to the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Then a series of pull-off notes going down the blues scale, then back up to the A. Then play the second lick again. The lick over the 5 chord at the 9th bar of the form goes like this. Start with a long quarter step bend on the flat 7, then B, A, B. The line ends with a triplet run down the E blues scale using a series of pull-offs. I'll play that very slowly a few times so you can see the fingering and picking. Now I'll play the whole 12-bar melody at a slow tempo so you can hear how all the parts fit together. You can try each of these licks in the practice section of this lesson, and then put them all together as a head melody for the song in the play chapter. Now that you've completed this series of lessons, you have a good understanding of how to play basic blues guitar. You can take what you've learned and work on developing your own solo style of blues. There's always more that you can learn and practice to add to your playing. If you want to continue developing your blues guitar playing, here are some things you can try. Find blues guitarists that you like and listen to their music. This is one of the best ways to start working out your own style. The goal isn't to sound just like them, but to add the parts of their style that you like to your own way of playing. Working with a good guitar teacher can really help you develop as a musician. They can work with you one-on-one, listen to you, and teach you specific techniques and ideas that will help you as a guitarist. And one of the most rewarding things you can do is find other musicians to play with. This can help develop different sides of your musicianship that no amount of practicing by yourself can accomplish. So try to get together with friends and work out some songs together. I hope you enjoyed this series. You can always check out other lessons in the GarageBand store that will help you learn even more about the guitar. Have fun. Let's play the A minor pentatonic scale using the first fingering pattern up and down, with quarter step bends on the 3rd and 7th degrees of the scale, like this. Play it with me starting with your first finger at the 5th fret of the 6th string. I'll call out the fingerings. 1, bend, 1, 3, bend, 3, bend, 3, 1, bend, 1, bend. Now coming back down. Bend, 1, bend, 1, 3, bend, 3, bend, 3, 1, bend, 1. Let's play it 2 more times. 3, 4. Back down. Again. And back down. In this section, let's practice each of the 5 fingering patterns for the E minor pentatonic scale. As long as you remember where the roots are for these patterns, you can move them up or down the neck to play them in any key. You can use the cycle button to repeat this exercise and slow it down using the speed slider to make sure you're getting all the fingerings right. Let's start with pattern 1 in the open position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play pattern 2, starting with your second finger on the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's pattern 3, starting with your first finger on the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play pattern 4, starting with your first finger at the 7th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play pattern 5, starting with your second finger at the 10th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's finish by playing pattern 1 again, this time at the 12th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to practice these pentatonic fingering patterns on your own, you can try them with the double and triple patterns we used to practice the scale in Lesson 2. You can also try adding quarter step bends on the 3rd and 7th scale degrees for each pattern. In this section, let's practice each of the 5 fingering patterns for the E blues scale. Keep in mind where the roots are for these patterns so you can move them up or down the neck to play them in any key. Let's start with pattern 1 in open position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play pattern 2, starting with your second finger on the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now try pattern 3, starting with your first finger on the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play pattern 4, starting with your first finger at the 7th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play pattern 5, starting with your first finger at the 10th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the quarter step bend lead lick 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now play the flat 5 lick 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the quarter step bend lead lick that works over the 11th and 12th bar of the blues progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the first lick of the melody line 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the second lick 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the 4-chord lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the 5-chord lick a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. and the E blues scale pull-off lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this version of the song, follow along with me to play the chords for the head. After that, play a solo starting with the lead licks from this lesson over 2 cycles of the form. Then use the E blues scale to improvise the rest of your solo while I play rhythm guitar. We'll finish with the head chords at the end of the song. In this version of the song, play the 12-bar melody line at the beginning. Then we'll trade solos where I'll solo for 12 bars, then you for 12, and so on. After 6 times through the form, we'll finish with the melody line again.